Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and a new paper crafting video. I am hopping along today with Scrap Diva Designs design team, and we are doing a Christmas in July inspirational hop. The hop is today, July 26th, and tomorrow, July 27th. 2 days of fun, and I am going to be making a gingerbread project because you know that's my favorite. This is the gingerbread mug die set from Scrap Diva Designs. I got it last year. I'm completely in love with this cute thing, and I could not wait to make it. I did a gingerbread Christmas series last year in December, and I had so much fun with it, but I still have gingerbread things I have not played with. So this is one of them, and I'm excited today to use it. I wanted to make my own background to die cut the gingerbread piece from to give it a more realistic vibe than just using colored paper. So I cleaned off my blending brush that had brown ink on it and decided to use that for my background. And then I'm going to layer up 3 different colors of Distress Oxide ink, starting with Rusty Hinge, because I feel like gingerbread has kind of a golden undertone to it, a warm brown, so to speak. So there I added that, and then I'm coming in with some tea dye as my next color, and I have my separate brush for my really light tan colors than just using my brown because I tend to use that color a lot. And then last but not least, I needed to darken this up, so I brought in some vintage photo. I made sure that the space I had blended was big enough for my dye, and then I wanted to distress it because I love splatter. I think it brings life to the paper. So I added some water, and then as I had the water out, I just spritzed the ink that was on my glass mat there, picked it up and splattered it on, which is one of the reasons of many that I love a glass mat. Also, did you see I used magnets to hold my paper down? That's because my board is from Glass Board Studio. It's magnetic, and that comes in handy in so many ways. All right, so there's the 3 colors. I used Vintage Photo, Rusty Hinge, and tea dye to get my gingerbread color in case it's something you wanted to replicate in the future or something I want to look back and remember next time because I love how this turned out. Okay, so I die cut the gingerbread and the hands, and then there's 2 other dies you can die cut to layer behind this, a stitched layer and then one that's plain. I love that. Okay, next I am die cutting out this piece, which is a layering piece. I'm going to make a little dress for my gingerbread, and I'm using this gingerbread paper collection from scrapbook.com. There is some really cute paper in here, and look at that solid paper. It matches my ink blended panel so perfectly. I didn't even think of that. So this is the pattern right here that I'm going to use for the dress. It has like little jars with gingerbread cookies in them, some donuts, and some cupcakes. It's just really cute. So I'm going to cut off this top piece here, and there's just like a little etched line that the die presses into the paper for you. So that was really easy for me to just follow that line, and then I can add this on as a little dress. Look how cute. I love it. All right, so then you have this piece here, which could be like shoes or something, but it could also be like a collar for the dress. So I'm going to do that. I'm cutting it from some glitter craft foam. This is from Spellbinders, and red. I gotta have red. I love traditional red with my gingerbread. Just love it. So there is a little swoop in this, but I wanted it to just be a little bit more swoopy. Is it a swoop? You know what I mean? Like I wanted it to look a little more like a collar, so I trimmed it out, made sure it looked good. I will snip off that little hanging down piece that I missed. And then let's bring in the other pieces to this die set, the like decorative pieces. So there's a handle that's like a candy cane. I die cut it from that same craft foam, and then some white glitter paper. And then I wanted to show you all the little accents that you can add to really bring this to life. The piping details on a gingerbread is so key. So here's all the eye pieces, but I wanted to show you that biggest piece right there with the lashes. It really needs to be cut from black or brown or whatever. So I re-die cut that same die with all the accent pieces in dark brown, and then you just layer up the eye pieces from the biggest to the smallest. So there's going to be 2 of the largest because one of them has the eyelashes, one of them doesn't, and then you have your colored part of your eye, then a white part. There's also a round piece that could be a nose. I didn't end up using that. It just didn't go with her vibe, so left it off. Okay, before I glue everything down, I really wanted to darken up the edges of my cookie like it's been baked. So I brought in some ground espresso and this shading Sidekick brush from Trinity Stamps. They're brand new, totally love them, and it worked great for just shading out the edge of my gingerbread mug, which isn't it darling? I also decided to use that excess ink for just a little bit more splatter. I'll also do the same shading on the little arms for, you know, a cohesive feel to my project. So there they are. And then we can start gluing all the things down. So I started with the handle, the candy cane handle, which stole my heart when I saw this. It's just adorable. And then I'll inlay the white pieces. And then I have enough left over to do the opposite, where the solid part is white and I can drop in the red pieces, you know, when I want to make another mug. So I have those saved and ready to go. And I'm just gluing them in, and I'm using a tool here to help me pick those up. Tweezers would work great here too, but I liked having the pokey end of this tool to scoot the pieces around and get them nice and flat in there. All right, for the dress, I used a bunch of foam squares to pop it up, and then I'll glue this collar down because it's already kind of raised up because it is craft foam, and it die cuts beautifully. I love using this glitter foam die cut. All right, then for the arms, I added a little foam square because they're going to be half on the collar and half off the collar, so they needed to be popped up a little bit, and I did have to trim a little away in order to get it to fit there. And yeah, look at that. Pretty cute. And then we'll add on those little piping details, which I feel just makes it. It makes it a gingerbread, having the pipe details, which are also cut from that same white glitter paper. I gave her some rosy cheeks. In the end, I feel like I could have made this a little bit darker. This is that shading Sidekick brush. I really feel like adding shading to your die cut pieces gives them that extra little touch. You know, love is in the details, and shading your die cuts is one of those details. Okay, so this piping piece, you can put it on either way. I originally was going to have it kind of go the other way, more like a smile shape, and I don't know, I liked this. It kind of grounded the piece, so that's what I did. I'm adding on the eyelash sections, and then I'll put the layered eyes on just as I showed you before. I kind of had mine over to one side. Well, not kind of, they totally are looking to one side, and I thought that was really cute, but you can center the eyes as well. I'm going to add some details to those to really help bring them to life with a Sharpie pen. So this is just like a Sharpie marker. My glue was not quite dry. I did have to scoot that back in place. And then I have a Sharpie like paint pen in white that I'm adding some just white highlights to my image. I did this because I am going over that glitter paper, and I will actually go over all of these a second time to really intensify them, because it did pick up a little bit of that Distress Oxide ink through the paint. So I went over it again. All right, for some really cute detail, I have these clay peppermint candies. I'm going to add this as like a border on her dress, because if you're making gingerbread cookies, which by the way, I love to make, I'm obsessed with them. I make them every year. We decorate them. I like to keep them really simple, but like I said, I love that traditional red with my gingerbread. So if we had super tiny peppermint candies like this that you could actually eat, I would probably put them on my cookies as like little buttons or something. All right, for the center, I'm going to layer them with some smaller peppermint candies that are actually pink and red, so it totally goes with my dress. And there's a nice big white opening in the center of the peppermint candies. Now, if you like this look, make sure that you watch my previous video from when I did Gingerbread Christmas, and I made a gingerbread house purse, also from Scrap Diva Designs. It is like one of the most fun projects I've made in a long time. It is definitely one of my favorites. So I'll link it for you at the end of this video, but also remember at the end, after watching this, you're going to want to hop along and see all the other amazing projects from the Scrap Diva design team with these cool dies. I am so impressed with the dies, and she has some adorable dies in the shop for Christmas. If you want to shop the shop, make sure you click my link in the description box below and use my discount code Carrie Stamps for 10% off. And now I'm going to show you how I turned this into a mini album. So I used the mini album tabs, and then I also used the gingerbread paper I showed you before, but also some papers from this Mary collection, also from scrapbook.com. I bought these all at the same time because I love the patterns and I thought you could mix and match them. And there's one other one I didn't end up using, but I'll show you that paper pad too, because I think the three go together really well, and having pattern papers to go with your dies on projects like this is so fun. So here's the pieces that I chose. I actually ended up doing 6 other pieces because I did the back sides of these. So for the pages, it's just those 2 largest layers from this die set, the stitched layer and the solid layer. And then I'm using this tab right here that has 3 bumps in it and 3 holes. And then for the hole reinforcers, I'm choosing the hearts like almost every single time. They are my favorite. If you like mini album ideas like this, I've also done one with our owl die from Scrap Diva Designs and a recipe one that's so cute. Okay, so here is my book. I'm going to flip through it. I'm really going to take more time, I think, to decorate this later. I'm getting ready to go on a trip to Paperganza, and so I knew that I would decorate this later. But what I want to put in here is my recipe for gingerbread cookies, pictures of my cookies, and this can like set out on my hot cocoa bar that is very much gingerbread themed, maybe on my like little tiered tray, and then people could flip through it. I don't know. I think it's cute, but you could also make cards with this. You could make a little pouch to put like a hot cocoa mix in. You could put a cookie in it, just depending on how you created your pouch. So make sure you hop along with us. I'm going to have links to today's videos in the description box below. I know you're going to love all the inspiration from my fellow design team members. But also, if you're watching till the end, please enter the hashtag #CarryStamps in the comments for a chance to win a $20 gift code to the Scrap Diva Design shop so you can get your hands on some of her amazing dies. Again, that hashtag is #CarryStamps in the comments. Winner will be announced on August 2nd. So you could win $20 to spend in the Scrap Diva Designs shop. And if you want to see more Scrap Diva, use the hashtag Scrap Diva Designs on Instagram for lots more inspiration. I'll see you on the next video. Happy stamping. Bye.